This is the Erin Cruz Show. Politics for the people and by the people. With your host, Erin Cruz.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Erin Cruz Show. We are live tonight. We have so much to go over, really serious. The elections were amazing this year. In fact, we had a red tsunami. The media won't let you know that. I'm sure the mainstream media is still melting all day long over their blue puddle. But, you know, they talk about the House, and Pelosi's all over the TV, and Maxine Waters is going to be taking over the financial. I can't even imagine her watching over our stock market, for goodness sake. In any case, don't let the media fool you. We made great headway. It's pretty phenomenal what we have accomplished. In fact, I'm going to tell you, we have a unique evening tonight. We are going to, because yesterday we spent all day doing massive amounts of election coverage. All of you probably have seen so much election coverage today and follow-up. And then, you know, as it seems with every election, people forget that really it takes a month to go through all of the votes and to make sure that everything is tabulated correctly and that the vote is certified. It's a huge undertaking and a large process. Nothing is final until everything is said and done. And in fact, in the state of California, much to be said about what's happened in Los Angeles County specifically, not just in the general election, but in the primary election as well. Time will tell how all of that rolls out. Again, these things take time. So you see right here on the screen, Team Erin Cruz volunteer highlights. Yes, we are going to have Team Erin Cruz people on the line with us in just a little bit. We want to follow up with some of the things that happened on the ground, online, you know, what was really going on during the whole election process, and a little bit of the rollout from people who have been volunteering for Team Erin Cruz over the last year. So we're going to cover that in just a few minutes. But what I wanted to get to right now is many of you, probably some of you have updates from the White House. You've been watching some of the things on the internet. You've seen all of the recaps coming out your ears. Yes, you can even see recap right here. Yes. But here's the deal. We want to go over some information which the media is just kind of hyping down just a wee bit. And I'm going to read it. So I'm going to look down, so don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm not. In fact, I read all of the president's information, and then I go look up everything that I receive from the White House to verify it. Not that there's incorrect information, but you never know. You just want to know what you're reading. One I read was pretty phenomenal, and we've done a few posts on this today. In the last previous 21 midterms, the president's party, that's the president who is in power at the time of the midterm, they have lost an average of 4 seats in the Senate. 4 seats on average in a midterm under the existing president. In this particular midterm, right now, that happened yesterday, we gained seats in the upper house. Gained. That is G-A-I-N-E-D. Seats. That's awesome. Do you want to know why that's so awesome? It's because those Senate members, those Senate seats, hold the power to push forward appointments. And as we saw with Kavanaugh, Supreme Court nominees, they deal with a lot of the issues relating to trade. The policies that they go through there and they pay attention to and what they accomplish is vast. And in terms of President Donald Trump getting the things done that he needs to get done in order to be an effective president and to do as much as he can while he's in office in service to American citizens or U.S. citizens, he needs a strong Senate, and now he has those votes. So, that in mind, we may have lost a bit in the House, but we gained a whole heck of a lot, especially as it comes down to the judiciary. I mean, this is huge. We need our justice system to be strong. We need the appointments, the people in place to do the job that needs to be done. So this gaining seats in the House, not only is it it's a record, I believe. I think they mentioned only 4 times in that span has the president's party gained seats in Congress upper chamber. So 4 out of 21. So that's pretty substantial. I mean, mainstream media isn't touching on that. That's a talking point, something you can highlight. Go find the numbers, find the research, find the data, and share that with people, because we have to stay on point. We have to stay on focus. Now, the other information point which I wanted to share with you was that out of the, and this is a great number. I love this. I love this. So out of the 30 rallies in the past 60 days, of the 11 candidates that they campaigned for with during the last week, 9 won. 9 of 11. That is awesome. That's substantial. And don't let the media fool you. We have made great ground. And again, this is not in the way of socialism, which we don't want hopey, changey, socialistic type individuals. We want strong people with the vision to see that this country needs restoration. It needs to be in a space where, well, yeah, we get to the point of less tax, less regulation, less government, more freedom. And that's what we're going to start hopefully seeing as a result of some of these wins. So now, the other thing that I found interesting was that President Donald Trump gave a statement, and he mentioned his priorities. This is good. I'm going to read this. So now is the time for members of both parties to join together to put partisanship aside and to keep the American economic miracle going strong, he said. He cited infrastructure, trade, and lowering the cost of prescription drugs as 3 areas he believes Democrats may want to work with Republicans. Look, this isn't about, in my mind, this is not about Democrats working with Republicans. This is about areas which Democrats should look at the needs of the people and their representation of the people and work together with the individuals who are up there on the Hill with them to accomplish tasks which will help the American people. And in fact, I want to make good mention before we go to our phone line and talk to our volunteer from Team Erin Cruz. I want to make mention of my ride home last night from the election night event. It was a pretty awesome event, by the way. Many of you may have seen our social media pages. But on the way home, we were talking, myself and the Uber driver, about the event I was at, because there were all sorts of news vans out front. I get in, I'm in this fancy red dress, and he wanted to know what the event was. And I mentioned to him that it was a political event, one which there were great wins and some losses, but it was really great to be around like-minded people. And he asked, "What side are you on?" And I told him very clearly, I am on the side of the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And he was a little surprised, and he said, "Well, no, you know, there are 2 parties, right?" And I said, "Actually, there are more than 2 parties. And in fact, we are a lot of people who may categorize ourselves, but, you know, it comes down to more than that." And he says, "Well, but you know what I mean." And I said, "Oh, okay, I know what you mean." And I did. But I like to talk to people, and I told him, I said, well, I'm on the side which looks to the United States Constitution as the basis for which it holds its platform. And he says, "Which side is that?" And I said, "Well, the one that really wants to help people." And he says to me, in fact, he says, "But, oh, is that the blue one?" And I said, "Actually, you know, we have to talk about this helping people issue. I said, actually, I'm a Republican, and what they look for is personal responsibility, and less government, less tax, less regulation will free up people to be able to operate and be prosperous. You can help people, and I explained this to him, you can help people by giving them handouts. You can help them by having government programs. But the issue is that the government can't give anything out that it already hasn't taken away from somebody else. And eventually, you know, we know socialism doesn't work, and eventually the government will, you know, people will run out of money, and the government will run out of money as well, right? It's just not a functional relationship there. And he mentioned that he was from Cuba. And he says, well, you know, that sounds familiar. And I said, well, you know, where are you from? And he says, I'm from Cuba. And I said to him, well, yes, you know, it's interesting. If you give government too much power, suddenly they're corrupted and they take, and the people suffer more than they were before they asked for the government to help. Because he said that it was common where he was from that the people would go to the government for help. And I said, well, that's what they're doing now here in the United States. And there's only so long that that works where it's no longer a hand up, it's a hand out. And the government just can't take from those who are making to give. It won't work. And he really thought about it for a little while, and he said to me that thank you for sharing with me your perspective, because he had never thought about it that way, that the government could become a corrupt body, which then out of trying to help the people really hurt the people, and that the people should be empowering themselves, and the government should create an atmosphere and a climate where people can flourish, safety, national security, and those sorts of things. And so it was really interesting to hear him be grateful for that understanding, because he hadn't really thought about it. And of course, we didn't get into whether or not he could vote or not or anything like that. But the point was, I thought that was an interesting exchange, and an exchange we should have more and more with people, not necessarily about party, but about principles, about value systems, about belief systems, and understanding why something is the way it is and how we can better flourish. So anyway, in any case, this was a phenomenal event last night, and I had that exchange with this individual, and you know, our country is on a brink of shifting to the point where socialism is a norm, where it used to be that when you talked about communism and you talked about socialism, it was just like, you know, oh, bad words, oh, bad words. New York moved yesterday to elect an outright socialist, a woman who's been interviewed numerous times and can't even talk about what socialism is. All she wants to do is help people. Government programs, handouts, take from others to give to, take from one to give to another. This is very, very dangerous, and we have to be vigilant. Again, we took the Senate, we have more seats. The House, we lost a few. We have 2 years until Trump 2020 and time to nurture our communities, to build our teams, build our infrastructure to help promote for Trump 2020, as well as to work with the candidates that are going to be coming up in the next upcoming elections and really get to the space where we're putting forth people who are strong candidates who will be elected and will represent the people. And to also have conversations and build those relationships in our community to help make that happen. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, and especially here, if you are a part of, whoops, is it that way? Part of Team Erin Cruz, you can always get involved. Go to voteerincruz.com. There's a sign up for volunteering at the top of the page. Sign up to volunteer. If you go to erincruz.com, there's information on that page as well where you can get involved. We take volunteers for all different kinds of outreach programs. Some of them have to do with this show. Some of them have to do with networking in your local communities and whatnot, not just in California, but across the nation. We are always looking for meme makers. We're always looking for people who can help with media. We can help on social media. And even if you're not even on social media and you're interested in getting on social media, but you're not sure how to do it, we want to help you do that. And not just for myself, because eventually I'll be running for United States Senate again in 2022. This isn't just for me, and Team Erin Cruz isn't just for me. It's to help all of us. This is a united cause to help all United States citizens be more effective in their communities and to help them defend the United States Constitution in their activities in their communities. Because this is the thing, we're seeing a mass erosion of everything our founders built this country on, and one of them is evident with the socialists being elected, not just in New York, but the socialists being elected in, say, Washington and California again. We have to make restorative change and get back to principled leadership. So if you want to be involved in Team Erin Cruz, go ahead and go to those two websites. And right now, I think we're going to be going online, and we're actually going to be taking that phone call. I'm really super excited. And hearing from one of our volunteers. Give me just a minute. Let's see if we can do that. Woohoo! This is wonderful. This is so wonderful. So we will go ahead and dial now. See how that goes. I'm hoping that all of you can take this time and get connected and really make an impact in your communities. We're here to help. Hi there.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi there, Erin.
Hi. So you're a member of Team Erin Cruz, right? We're live on the
yes,
line.
I am.
Hi, welcome to the Erin Cruz Show. And as a matter of fact, I think you've been on the show previously, but it's been some time. We were just talking just a few minutes ago about some of the outreach that's been going on with Team Erin Cruz, and then we were also talking about some of the election updates from yesterday. Also, some of the information that's been coming out of Washington, and that President Donald Trump is trying to communicate about the gains we've actually experienced throughout the country, despite the media womp, 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 and saying there's no red wave and saying there's this huge blue wave. It's just something we've been talking about. So what is your perspective working with Team Erin Cruz and helping to unite the country? Has it been something you've really enjoyed?
Yes. And I appreciate you having me on, Erin.
Oh, yes.
And, yes, Team Erin Cruz is something unique. And when we started the campaign back in January, and we purchased on teams, and it just came as a natural fit to come up with hashtag Team Erin Cruz. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it became something bigger. After the primary and that, we realized, hey, we had something. And as far as the perspective goes, working with Team Erin Cruz and the people involved with Team Erin Cruz it's a family. You know, we go by
I like
have a
that.
little
It's
quip,
a freedom
God,
family.
That's it. God, family, and country. Well, Team Erin Cruz is family. We have our regular families that we live with every day, but we also have our families on social media and also working together for the campaign. And the people pulled together real tight, and the support was there. The red wave was out there. Every day we generated more and more and more, and more people would come in and join up.
Yes.
And pretty soon we would have to, we were possibly looking at an Erin Cruz army.
We are looking at an Erin Cruz army. We are. It's going to take 4 years to build. It's like anything else. It's a recruitment. And I just was actually mentioning before I called you on the line a little bit about how you know, this is all going to take time, and our Constitution, we currently have socialists running for office outwardly in our own country, in our republic. And we have to do better about building these relationships, not just in our own community, but throughout the nation, especially given all of the technology that we have to defeat these people who are absolute radicals. And one way we can do that is by banding together under a cause. And Team Erin Cruz represents that. It represents, you know, the founders' vision, working together, united, to protect and defend the United States Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I'm not saying Erin Cruz Army like an actual army, but it's a group of people who are banding together for a cause, united. That's what that is. So we're gonna go big, and it's gonna be strong. So
it's like-minded patriots, you know, who believe in the country, still believe in the country, the Constitution, the flag, family values, you know, things that we grew up with when we were younger that are disappearing. You know, people are getting more, or they've been materialistic and getting more materialistic. And now all of a sudden, here we are, we're fighting socialism in our own country that our armies used to fight against over in foreign countries.
Absolutely.
And now it's coming to America. Everybody wants a handout. You know, everybody wants the free stuff. Well, somebody has to pay for the free stuff. You know?
Everybody wants a handout, and not just a hand up. And I was talking about that, about the gentleman who was the Uber driver, and it blew my mind. It was like, well, the blue party, the party that wants, the blue one, the one that wants to help people. And I thought, well, it depends on what you define as help. How do you define helping someone? Helping them by giving them things, or creating a climate where things are accessible to them in terms of education, you know, and empowerment, the ability to start a business with not a lot of government thwarting and picking at their pocketbook, and regulation, and it got him to thinking, you know, and that's part of it. We have to talk to people, because the left is very good at lying, misinformation, disinformation. So now,
definitely.
Yeah. So what have you found in terms of what you've learned in working with Team Erin Cruz? You know, I mentioned individuals who haven't been on social media or are new to social media, that we can help them learn how to use social media. But what have you learned personally and taken from the experience of being with Team Erin Cruz in terms of your skill base? Because, you know, that's important, and I think activists, they want to get involved, but they're a little gun shy.
Well, when I first started with Team Erin Cruz back in January, yeah, I could do little simple memes and things like that, you know, nothing of great quality or anything. And as we progressed through the campaign and everything, everybody has special traits that they don't even know they have. And next thing you know, you start trying something. Then you start building on, say, building a meme. Then you start downloading programs. You ask people questions. You talk. You share information.
Right.
Next thing you know, your skill level starts increasing. Just like I have done some videos in the past before the campaign. Right. Then I started to play around and do more videos, kept practicing. I talked to one of our guys in the team that did videos professionally in that. He gave me some pointers. He gave me some tips. We shared information, and it becomes a unique thing that we keep sharing with one another. We're always talking to one another. We're always helping one another. We're always building.
Right.
And
well,
that's
keep wonderful
on.
Because, you know, I don't know. We have some younger people on Team Erin Cruz, but the majority of the people who are involved online and otherwise are probably, I'd say, you know, 30 and above. And the younger groups may be more apt to know social media, but not all of them are on social media. And it's been good to see, I've seen personally, I like to stay involved. I've seen personally some people grow substantially. You're one of them. A couple of other people that we have on the team have grown substantially as well. And it's just good. It's good to see. It's good to see people get excited. But we want more. We want more people excited. What motivates you to keep going with it, Team Erin Cruz, and to keep fighting for all of these states, and especially California? Because it's a big deal.
California, I'm from Tennessee. And that's the other thing about Team Erin Cruz. We're all not from California.
We're not bots either. Okay, we're not bots either.
No, we're not bots. We are definitely not bots.
Yes.
And but we're spread all over the country. You know, from New Hampshire to Tennessee to Colorado, Arizona. We got people in Utah,
Florida,
they're all
Washington.
Florida.
I mean, I think we have almost all 50 states if you look at everybody. But I don't know about Maine. But yeah.
No. Yeah, we have people up in Michigan too. But the thing is, though, you know, California is unique because everybody was watching the election last night. And you could see that the numbers were creeping up, that the Dems were going to take control of the House of Representatives, and all of a sudden California hasn't reported. Then everybody's sitting there looking at California, and they're going, oh, my. They knew what was coming, you know. But at the same time, though, California has 54 seats, but all 54 seats weren't Democrat.
Right.
At the end of the day, we made gains in California. Every candidate that, you know, appeared on your show or, you know, that we were pushing and putting out Mimi's for them, we were putting out the little driver's license, the hot ticket candidates and everything like that. Briefly today, I looked at the stats, and all of them were basically up into the 30% range.
Right. You know, and you bring up a good point there because while, you know, the primaries were rough for California in terms of people really being concerned about socialism, and some of these individuals who are leading socialism may be gaining seats in the general election. And being that, you know, some individuals were concerned about who actually was up for election in the general election, and maybe their person they were rooting for didn't win the primary, they were concerned about, okay, what do we do now? And that's where Team Erin Cruz, I decided, and I talked to all of you about pushing for 2022 together all the way through, and including everyone who wanted to get involved to help California, because my race, and I'm going to talk compartmentally, for 2020 of 2022 for U.S. Senate, that's a statewide movement, and we have the opportunity. I've met a lot of people when I was running in the primary, all throughout the state, and they all seemed like they needed focus and help, and they wanted to get involved locally and also in a movement, and really this helped empower us to understand that we really could make an impact and that we could connect and build those relationships even further and really work with people to help nurture California and get us to the place where we're energized for this general election, because it is such a big state. And so everybody seemed to get on board and really get involved, and it really ignited things for the general election. I don't know that we would have had as much momentum as we did in gains in terms of the percentage points as we would have had if Team Erin Cruz wasn't there. I don't know that. So what do you think?
You know, when we started this, everybody kept saying, let California fall off into the ocean and everything, you know, drift away and all this. And we kept changing the mindset. We kept telling people, no, you can't let California go. You can't let California go. You know, there's 54 seats in it. It's
Right.
one of the largest agricultural states. It has all your ports for the West Coast on it, mostly. And, you know, the economy coming out of California is worth fighting for. The people are worth fighting for. Now, at the same time, you know, we kept fighting that mindset, and as the campaign kept rolling on through, even through up to the primary, we kept gaining more support. The red wave kept moving. You know, the sanctuaries, the cities that were fighting the sanctuary state law and all this started to show up. They started to come out in force. You know, it just kept gaining momentum and more momentum and more momentum.
I remember at the very beginning, I remember at the very beginning, somebody reminded me of this, but it's true. I do recall the very beginning of the campaign in December and January of, December of 2017 and the beginning of January of 2018, we were laughed at, as a matter of fact, about the Make California Golden Again. And that didn't deter us, and all the people just saying, no, why? It's such a waste. We're talking a lot of pushback, so negative, and these are Republicans, these are independents, these are libertarians, and it took a lot of people like you who band together to combat. I mean, all of you did. You were so brave to step out there and to stand by me, and we stood together and to combat that line of thought that, no, we're not going to allow this to happen. No, we are going to work hard, and we are going to make California golden again, and we're going to work hard to build strong communities and relationships within our communities to get this state back on track. And it's no easy task, and it's going to take a long time. But I believe we're going to do it, and we saw a lot of the fruit of our labor just yesterday, in the general elections. So I'm so glad to hear that you brought that up again, because it's true. And how did that make you feel to see that transition, to see that actually happen?
Again, it was like, all right, it's an uphill battle, and for 11 months, we've been fighting this, and as you see it grow, you take more pride in it. You take, you dig down deeper. Your resolve gets going. You start getting the other people involved. The other people start getting involved with you. And like I said, it becomes a family. Then everybody unites.
Right.
And we all look at the common goal. You led us. You gave us direction. You turn around. You got a good set of, your integrity is impeccable. And that.
Thank you.
And you turn around on top of that.
It's very humbling, you saying that.
And while the people and you, with all this coming together, it meshes. And we all meshed together. We all took pride. And we're to the point where we're at today. Yeah, we might have lost a battle, but we haven't lost the war.
You betcha. And there are going to be many, many more battles. You're right. And we have to stay focused. So now, you being from Tennessee, you saw some gains and losses there as well, right? Yeah.
Unfortunately, we lost one race over in Memphis that we were trying to get. That's blue. That's heavily blue. And, it's like trying to turn L.A. or someplace out on the coast out there in California from blue to red. Same thing with Memphis. We lost that one. But yet at the same time, we gained Marsha Blackburn as a senator.
Yes, you did. That was a gain.
And we got Lee as a governor. He's red. Kentucky above us is red. It's the only blue spot in Kentucky is Louisville. So as you can see,
Louisville.
We did make gains. Poor Louisville.
Poor Louisville.
That's like Nashville.
I hope the people wake up because, like that guy who came here from Cuba, what isn't working in other countries? They're wanting to do it here. Why do it here? It never has worked. Socialism doesn't work. And
think,
yeah,
just think about what you just said right there, Erin. Here's a guy from Cuba. He's driving for Uber. Uber is it's a corporation and everything, but the people is using free enterprise. He's using his own car to make a capitalist living off of free enterprise.
Right, right.
You know,
I mean,
and
talk about a business opportunity. And I know the big unions try to fight the Uber, and, you know, people always complain and what have you, but here in Uber is somewhat of a liberal org. But the point is that, yes, he's sitting there, he's making a capitalist living, and he doesn't understand why, you know, or he was trying to understand at least, why we wouldn't want a lot of help from the government. Well, but it's the same with Louisville, is, you know, any kind of blue area is, people wonder why things aren't getting better. Well, because the government is the government. It's inefficient. It doesn't tend to do things well. Just look at the DMV, look at some other areas, you know, of that it operates in.
Look at all your metropolitan areas. They're all blue. All your major metropolitan areas are blue. Every metropolitan area in the United States is misrun. They have slums. They have low-income housing. They keep people wanting. You know, Chicago, for instance, Detroit. And here's President Trump getting the economy moving and everything.
Yes, President Donald Trump.
Yeah, and here you got all these other cities out there, especially like up in Chicago and Detroit and that, up around the Rust Belt and that. He's got the steel mills working in Gary, Indiana again, and that. So this all comes into play. You don't want socialism. You want free capitalism. You want to work. You want more jobs. He's got the jobs coming. So keep it rolling.
Right.
But
are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
You're saying, you cut out there for just a moment. You're saying he's got the steel mills going again, and the Rust Belt is you know, not, it's starting to get a little bit unrusted.
Yeah, the steel mills are going again in Gary, Indiana, California. Let's get California moving again. Let's keep the red moving in California. Let's keep driving. That's the only way we're going to live. You know, keep driving on. Keep getting it red. Keep getting it a little redder. Anybody would have told me that we could have brought some of these candidates up like we did, you know, up into the 30% mark and that. And you think about it. Some of the candidates we had at 38%, yeah, they lost by what, 12 points. All right. What were they been setting at maybe last year or 5 years ago? Down in the 10s, 20s, very low 30s. You know, we made gains. I love to see the gains going, to keep the gains going more.
Yeah, and keep the gains going in
and
California.
We can do it.
In whatever way we can.
Yeah,
and we
can do that.
won a lot of local races as well. So
we need more people like you.
Oh, well,
we need more people like you running.
Well, okay, yes, we do. But I think bigger than that is duplicating ourselves, because there are so many wonderful people on Team Erin Cruz, and so many wonderful people I know here in the state of California that when we can band together, we will be unstoppable, literally unstoppable, and not in a bad way like what we're seeing with the progressives and the socialist movements here in the state and across certain areas of the region, you know, of the country, actually. but in a positive way. And it's going to take time to build those relationships. And, you know, Republicans are really independent, very, very independent. But we have to work harder at working together, and I believe we can do that. So again, you know, one last thing. What is one reason why for people, and this isn't supposed to be an advertisement interview, but I do want people to share, because we did make a big impact over the election process, not just for California, but across the United States. What would you recommend to somebody thinking about getting involved in a movement like Team Erin Cruz or other, you know, group activities online, Patriot activism?
Pick your groups wisely, pick your groups smartly, and then with Team Erin Cruz, you know, we work with people. We bring them along. We teach them. We help them. We try and get them to a more mature level as far as the social media goes, and as far as the other impacts that we're trying to do. You know, try it. Get involved. That's the big thing. You have to get involved. You can get involved at your local level of, you know, helping campaigns and things like this. But, you know, just try it. You know,
I love that.
Just try it.
Just do it. Just try it.
Yeah, just do it. Just try it. You know, you'll find your fit. You know, people. It's not unreachable. It's not unstoppable. You know, we're just a group of Americans that banded together for a common cause.
Right.
And look where it's at today.
Pretty unbelievable. Well, you're unbelievable, and we thank you for leading the charge in the area that you work in, and we thank you so much for talking with us today, because there are literally thousands of people out there like you who want to get involved, or who are involved but don't feel like they're involved or part of something that's bigger that they feel is family. And I would like to encourage those individuals to get involved, because like you're a veteran, you work, you have a busy life, but here you've made impact, an unbelievable impact. And we're so grateful to have you involved. And more people are, I'm sure, like that and want to get involved. And we can build those relationships, but they have to reach out. And we're here. And you're here to work with them, too. I mean, I love it. I love it. Everybody's working together for this unbelievable cause. And I know I just asked you for one last thing, but here's the deal. I have to ask you one last thing. Like, one last thing. Are you excited for Donald Trump for 2020? I'm
siding with Donald Trump for 2020. I'm in it all the way. Okay. I'm red all the way. I'm for the Constitution all the way. Nice. Yeah, I served 20 years in the military defending the Constitution. I got the Constitution in my bones.
I love that. I love that. Well, I am. I'm excited for Donald Trump 2020, and I can't wait to work with everybody towards that initiative and make sure Kamala Harris knows her space as it relates to the presidency. It ain't happening.
Kamala Harris is going to know Team Erin Cruz and Erin Cruz very well.
Unfortunately, I think she already does, but you know, better she knows now what she's getting up against. So, all right. Well, thank you again for coming on the Erin Cruz Show, and we'll touch base with you probably in a couple of weeks, I think, and follow up. We have a lot to talk about. Wonderful. Well, everybody, there you have it. Phenomenal, phenomenal volunteer who just loves this country and wants to make an impact. You can make an impact too. Go to voteerincruz.com or erincruz.com. Get involved, volunteer, sign up. We have activism on the ground. We have activism online. We have all sorts of training platforms to help you learn how to better communicate, you can purchase my book, but we have other training platforms where we teach you, and we have other organizations teach you how to be effective in your community. So make sure you follow up with that. Now, right now, we are going to actually move into another segment. You're going to see a little short video, and we're going to actually have you watch Laura Loomer's interview, okay? This is important. Laura Loomer was interviewed on the Erin Cruz show yesterday, I believe it was. It seems like years ago. Yesterday. And she talked about her activism as it relates to elections and her impact, what she's been doing. She also talks about why she's been doing it and what area she's focusing in on in her activism. So we're excited to share that video with you again, that interview, because we think, it's not just about feelings, it's about facts, but we feel and we think and we know that it's important that you get this information. And also, please make sure that you like and share this video with your friends and your family. We have a long way to go to get this nation back on track, and especially California. We are not stopping or slowing down, and especially Laura Loomer's interview. Watch it, share it. All right, here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Laura Loomer.
This is the Erin Cruz Show. Politics for the people and by the people. With your host, This is the Erin Cruz Show. Politics for the people and by the people. With your host, Erin Cruz.
Well, welcome back to the Erin Cruz Show. I know we've had an election action-packed day, but we can't go through the election process and what's going on here in California and throughout the nation without talking about one of the #1 hot ticket topics of today, which is censorship and media obstruction of everything good and right that is going on throughout the nation. They aren't covering anything. It's pretty much a blackout. And then the big conglomerates like Twitter and Facebook and what have you, suppressing free speech, et cetera, and so on and so forth. All of you out there listening to the Erin Cruz Show are on the same page. That is the reason why we are having Laura Loomer on the show with us today. She is on the line. You can't see her. You have her little picture there, but she is on the line with us. We're going to hear from her what she's been going through. It's been pretty substantial in terms of overreach by certain powers. Welcome to the Erin Cruz Show, Laura. We're so glad to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what has been going on? I mean, it seems like as an activist, I don't know about you, but I've experienced a lot of different things, especially running for office. But in your case, you've been really targeted as of late and even previously. But tell us what's been going on.
Right. So I've been investigating a lot of different Democrat candidates, Marxist, jihadi candidates who are running for office. And my videos have been very effective. They've gone viral and have actually, cost people elections and, of course, really damaged their chances of winning elections. And as a result, Twitter has decided to kind of crack down on me and my speech and my videos. And so last week, a week prior to today, Election Day, of course, I was shut down on Twitter for an entire week, which prevented me from posting any of my video exposés and getting my work out. And, of course, this is egregious because I'm a conservative journalist. This is what I do. This is my full-time job, right? And
this is your life. This is your livelihood, and you're exposing truth. It's not like you're trying to muddle waters that are, you're really just sharing information with people.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything nefarious. I'm simply exposing these dangerous candidates who are running for office who wish to destroy America.
Right.
And as a result, Twitter gave me a suspension without any reason whatsoever. And that's what's happening. A lot of conservatives are currently being shut down and censored on social media without any reason whatsoever.
Right. Well, you know, are you back up and running, or are you still shut down?
My account was reinstated today. So
look at that timing, right? I mean, how horrible is that? So now, what action did they take? Did they ever let you know why they shut you down?
No. So, of course, I didn't do anything wrong. I did nothing wrong at all. And they simply just shut my account down because they didn't want me posting conservative information. They didn't even give me a reason. In fact, a lot of liberals mass reported my account in the days prior to me being suspended for a week. And I received a notification from Twitter that said, your account was reported for this content, and it listed a few different things, and it said that I was not in violation of the terms of service, but they still, managed to ban me for a week.
Well, you know, I'm going to tell you, I'll be real quite frank with you. I ran for United States Senate, and I had my Facebook shut down. I had my team's Twitter accounts shut down and suspended. They had to prove they were humans. Reauthorize their accounts multiple times, time and time again. And that is in the midst of an actual election. And what you're telling me is you're on the flip side. You're trying to provide the people with information about candidates, and you are censored. You are shut down and unable to convey the information to the voters. I mean, I don't know which is worse. I think they're both equally as bad. The people have the right to receive the information. You have the right to speak and share your information.
Yeah, and I'm not doing anything wrong, but it should concern everybody in this country because, you know, if you're a conservative now, you're going to get shut down on social media. And it's extremely troubling to me because this is how I make my money. This is what I do for a living. And, you know, liberals in Silicon Valley are now given the authority to essentially decide what I can and cannot say. And
and this is our new way of talking. You know, some people have said, well, you're on somebody else's platform. You know, you're agreeing to be a part of their platform. You know, it's not about free speech. But this is the thing. This is how we communicate now. This is how we communicate.
Exactly.
This is a mode and a way that we share information. I may not call you on the phone or walk over to your house. We're such a populated country, and technology has advanced so much. This is how we talk. This is how we share. And I do believe that the FCC has to, and I'm not for overregulation, but there has to be some sort of guide by which these organizations and companies abide by to make sure that they are not politically posturing or shutting down, say, election coverages. I mean, this is a big deal. This is a big deal because what would happen if this happened to be that you were a Democrat? What if the roles were reversed, Laura? The left would be flying off the hook.
If Twitter was run by a conservative, of course, they wouldn't be able to handle it because, they'd be crying foul left and right. And so what I don't understand is how come there's two sets of rules depending on, what you are in this country? It just seems like the rules are applied differently for those of us who are conservative, and I don't think that's fair.
It's not fair, and it goes beyond not fair. It's just not. It's not right. It's not left. It's not right. It's right versus wrong, and we have to get back to the space where things are equitable. Now you had a large catalyst where you pretty much were taken out of your primary position some time back. As a journalist because of some, as they call it, controversial information that you were sharing with the public. I mean, you don't mind going out on a limb and doing the work that you've been charged to do, sharing truth and giving the people information. You're a brave woman, Laura. You're a brave woman. Share with us a little bit about that experience because I do believe that they're tied together, by the way.
Right, so I used to be verified on Twitter, and then I lost my verification simply because, last year on Halloween, there was an ISIS terrorist who was an Uber driver, of course, and he ended up killing 8 people with his car. And he didn't have a valid license. He was allowed into this country under Obama through chain migration. And I took to Twitter and I said, you know, when is somebody going to create a non-Islamic form of Uber and Lyft? Because it's really getting out of control how there's so many of these, you know, Islamic drivers who are killing people left and right. And what's being done about it? And as a result, you know, Twitter decided that they were going to take away my verification because they didn't like what I was saying. And
but there are other people who can hold up Trump's head with it cut off, you know, and they you know, they're fine, you know. And then there's another gal who can share information, literally leak top secret documents, who's not verified, and all of a sudden she's the most popular, grandest person in the land and gets a Twitter verification, yet she's pretty much a traitor. And here you are trying to defend the United States Constitution and actually just share truth and information with your fellow citizens, and you get chastised. It isn't right.
Yeah, I get chastised, I get shut down, I get censored, the whole 9 yards.
But you're also speaking. You're using this as an opportunity to get out the message, right, and expose these conglomerates, these major media conglomerates, because I consider them media as well, because they're the ones sharing all the information, right? You're using this as an opportunity. Tell us about what you're doing and what your current work is like now, because it sounds like you're traveling a lot.
Yeah, I do travel a lot, and I spend a lot of time, like I have been doing lately, traveling the country, covering a lot of the different races across the country, a lot of these Marxist and jihadi candidates, and I've been focused especially on Minnesota with the election here with Keith Ellison, of course, and I confront people. It's called loomering, and what I do is I take my cell phone and I usually ask them questions that everybody wants to know the answer to, but the mainstream media is too cowardly to ask. And so I hold these candidates accountable, and I ask them questions, and usually they're too nervous or cowardly to answer, and so they don't answer me. And the videos end up going viral because I expose the hypocrisy and the lies that are being pushed forward from these candidates.
Right. Well, and that's something that I talk about in my upcoming book that will be coming out. But I've talked about this about California, Laura, is that, you know, California has gone so far left. There are literally socialists and progressives. We've had some Islamists run in offices as Republicans, for office, excuse me, as Republicans, and other things. But I've mentioned to people that Minnesota is an issue. It's becoming a large issue in terms of the Muslim population, and I would say even those people who are trying to reform the state and get a stronghold there. What have you seen on the ground? Because, I mean, I read a lot of articles and I know a lot of people, but I want to hear from you. You've been in the rooms. You've been talking to people there.
Right. Well, there's a problem here in Minnesota because there's a lot of candidates who support Sharia. And that's a direct result of the fact that there's a lot of Muslim immigrants here. And a lot of these candidates who support Sharia support policies to import more refugees, more dangerous criminals into the state. And it's very problematic, of course, and very dangerous. And Keith Ellison is one. You have Ilhan Omar, who, of course, is running for to replace Keith Ellison's seat since he's running for Attorney General. She's running for Congress. And this is a woman who literally there's evidence that shows she married her brother. She's held fundraisers with Hamas, which is a terrorist organization. She's made very anti-Jewish, anti-Israel comments on social media before. And these are the people. These are the people who they're forced to deal with. And this is a movement, of course, that is now sweeping the country, where you have a lot of these Muslim candidates. There's about 100 candidates who are Muslim who are running for office this election cycle across the country, and many of them are pro-Sharia.
Right, and that's a real big problem. Sharia is definitely in conflict with our United States Constitution. Now, have you been up to Washington at all? Washington State? Because that's starting to be a stronghold as well, from what I understand.
Right, I haven't. I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, maybe for the next election cycle, take a look at it. It's becoming a very, very large problem, and it's becoming a more national issue. And when we see that certain people like yourself, I mean, it's just such a shame. You're trying to share information, truth, and let the voters decide, right? I mean, you're not doing anything wrong. You're simply asking questions. And the voters should be aware of what's going on. If the media isn't going to report, God bless you for going out there and finding the information, because we should know, and what, if anything, do you think that the president should be doing to help facilitate more transparency where social media conglomerates are concerned?
Well, it'd be really nice if the president would look into some type of antitrust legislation or even some type of executive order I would be satisfied with, or maybe even just, our own congressman proposing and passing some type of antitrust legislation. Or really honestly, I think that when you look at civil rights in this country, civil rights now should extend to the internet and social media, because now, if you look at your political affiliation is something that many people are now being discriminated for. And I think that it needs to be included, because if it's not, right, what we're going to see is an increase in these attacks and an encroachment on the civil liberties of conservatives all across the country, who are now being shut down on social media platforms, as well as payments methods like PayPal and
right. That's the other scary part. And you're not alone in this, especially with the angle that you're going in terms of combating truth and getting the information out to the people, because Pamela Geller has met similar pushback as well. Right. And it's just it's fierce. She literally can't do Google AdWords on her sites. I was reading in one notification from her recently. And what kind of a country is this? How free are we? God-given liberties, where have they gone? Because these conglomerates are literally starving conservatives. Now, what is next for you? What is next for you? What do you see doing next? I know you're currently working on the elections. The elections are coming to a close. What's next for Laura Loomer?
Well, I'm going to be gearing up for 2020, because, of course, now after these elections, the political season is only going to start ramping up even more, and there's going to be people announcing their presidential runs, and there's always work to do. There's always things to expose, of course, so always corrupt individuals in politics who are trying to deceive the American people, so I'll just continue my investigation.
That's wonderful. Well, we're so glad you're out there and you're not stopping. And does this fire you up when they push back on you?
Yeah, it does. It only motivates me more, because it just shows me that I'm effective in what I'm doing if they're trying to shut me down. Yes.
Well, I know from the feedback that I have from Patriots that you have a lot of people standing alongside you and are looking to you for good information and to stay brave out there and to stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything that you're doing. And again, thank you for coming on the Erin Cruz Show and sharing with us. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with listeners, a message that you'd like to share with them to inspire them, to keep them going? Because
all I want people to know about and focus on today is it's election day, so make sure you get out and vote. If you haven't already, vote Republican. It's really important. And tell your friends and family members to also vote Republican. It's really important that we win this.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you again, Laura, and God bless you, and please take care and be safe.
Thank you so much.
All right.
To hear more and to learn more on how you can make an impact or about the Erin Cruz Show, visit us online at erincruz.com. That's ERINCRUZ.com. Thank you for joining us, and See you at the same time and the same place next week.